This is a short video that will provide an overview of a new feature that we have in the 78 and 8800 series phones, and essentially this is a safety feature. So for quite some time we've had the ability to have a hotline, so when I take this off hook it would automatically dial this. But we've had the request to have the ability for if this got knocked out of my hand, right, or I dropped it for whatever reason, for safety reasons, I want it to be delayed and call this. So essentially, I am delaying by 15 seconds the call to the other phone. And in the interim, I could just use this as a normal phone, right? So I can go ahead and dial other numbers, etc. So it's not invoking the sort of emergency dial. So the emergency dial would only happen if I go off hook and the phone gets dropped for whatever reason, and as a safety measure it will go ahead and call this. So it's basically delayed PLAR. And that's sort of the overview of how this works. Let's give it another few seconds and you can see how that it's going ahead and invoking the hotline functionality to this other phone. So let's take a look at how you actually configure this.
So in terms of configuring this, the setup on UC Manager is very straightforward. So basically, this is a document that's posted on our community website. The shortened URL is cs.co/sip-plar, and it's a very straightforward process. You create a SIP dial rule, you basically associate that to a button, and then you create a translation pattern. So let's take a look at this of an actual configuration on UC Manager. So here is my UC Manager. This enhancement does require firmware 12.6 or higher on our 78 or 8800 series phones. And essentially here are the two phones that we had showed in the demonstration. So this is my first phone. This is the one that we actually want to do the actual dial out. And so the big takeaway here is that I need to insert this CSC VP92871 into the customer support use. So essentially, the reason why we have to put this in here is if you didn't put this in here, then it would just be a normal PLAR line, right? When I pick up the handset, it would automatically dial. We actually want to delay that for 15 seconds. And so that's why we have to populate this in the actual phone that we want to have this delayed PLAR experience. And then the other thing I had to do on this particular phone is put it into a calling search space that is similar to the destination phone. So that's how I set up the actual phone that is going to have the delayed PLAR. In terms of actual configuration of the PLAR, I would go into dial rules, SIP dial rules, and again, this part is 100% identical to just normal SIP PLAR. So I have created this SIP dial rule called PLAR line 1 SIP. I specify a button. So you need to have the button specified, and I had the value of 1. So this would be line 1. And then after I do that, then I go down to my translation pattern. And on my translation pattern, I essentially specify the calling search space that I have created, which is PLAR underscore CSS SIP. And this is exactly the same as the document that is posted on the community site. And then I put in my destination number. So my destination number is 1001. It can, of course, be anything that you like. And then if we go back to the phones, one thing that I didn't mention is on the phone that we want the delayed PLAR, I also have to specify this SIP dial rule. So here is my SIP dial rule, the PLAR underscore line 1 SIP, and of course we also have to put in this customer support parameter. And then last but not least, on our destination phone, which is 1001, the destination phone, I don't have to really do anything other than put it into a new partition that I created associated with that calling search space. So the route partition is PLAR SIP phone, and other than that, there's nothing unique about this particular phone. And if we go back to my calling search spaces, just so you can see that, here's my calling search space, and I have my PLAR CSS underscore SIP, and in there I have my partition PLAR SIP phone. So that is the overview of how to set this up. Thank you very much.